Hello, biology. I'm sorry that I have not been able to see you for 2 weeks. It's just the circumstances of being a teacher, needing to go to trainings and whatnot. Today we have a minimum day, so I will not be seeing you. I decided that instead of you continuing Edgenuity, we would actually change it up a little bit with a project. So as we continue to learn about inheritance of traits and genetics, I told you last week during task 3 that we will be doing a project. And your project is going to be specifically about choosing a genetic disease or disorder that you're interested in, and not only are you going to be researching it, you're going to actually be teaching it to the class. So for your presentation, you are going to be the teacher. And you need to present, you need to be clear, you need to be engaging, and you're going to design an assessment for all of us to take afterwards. So basically, you get to be teacher for 10 minutes. So what you're going to be seeing when you log in on January 26th at 12:30, of course, we have no class, so don't expect, you're not going to have to go use the Meet link. You're just going to have your assignments. You will see that a mini lesson genetic disorder comes up and then a pick your topic. First, go to pick your topic. Now, you have a list of different genetic disorders, and I say disorders in quotations because sometimes that could be offensive to some people, but basically different genetic variabilities that are not in the common population. You have chromosomal abnormalities. This is a whole classifications of actual chromosomes, an odd number of chromosomes, not our regular 46, 23 pairs, and sometimes an extra chromosome, sometimes a less of a chromosome. And there's different syndromes that come with that. If you're interested in any of these, please pick one. So you also have X-linked disorders. These are specific to the X chromosomes. So you could choose dominant or recessive. The list includes both. So this is what you're going to need to do is actually do some research and learn extensively about whatever you choose. You have Y-linked, which there's not many. And you have autosomal dominant and recessive. All of these, from X-linked down, you should include a Punnett square showing the probability of inheriting. With chromosomal abnormalities, a karyotype would be something you would want to share and research more on. Now, once you pick something you would like to study and teach the rest of the class about, you're going to highlight what you would want. You're going to go to Format, you're going to go to Text, and you're going to click Strike Through. And that lets others know that that topic is already taken. And you're going to want to put your initials right next to it. You don't have to make it strike through. You can make a strike through if you want. You can leave it, whatever. But that's just because I want variability in our class. I don't want everybody to do one topic. It just makes us be able to learn a bunch of other information. Now, if you have a choice that is not listed, that is fine. Please send me an email and let me know which one you want so I can approve it. That's all I would like, is to be able to approve it. And just let me know. All right, so now let's actually move into what is your requirements for this mini lesson. So the goal is to create a mini lesson, 10 minutes, right? If it goes a little bit over, that's fine. If it goes a little bit under, that's fine. I would say that if your presentation or your teaching is only 1 to 2 minutes of direct instruction, that's kind of short and probably doesn't give the students a lot of times to learn. You have to make sure that whatever you're presenting gives enough background information that your students should be able to understand what you're teaching. So I wrote a little blurb right here about research projects and how even though you learn when you're presenting, some of the students may not be learning what you're presenting. And it's broken down into two components that you're going to have to do. The first is research, right? You're going to have to research your topic. You're going to be the expert in it. You're going to be the one teaching it to others. And then your instruction. And you don't need to provide any side research about your topic. You don't need to write anything or do anything. You're going to use whatever you're presenting to the class. And that's how I am going to evaluate if you did background research. Please also cite and source. I want to know where you got your information from. So if you're doing a visual, say that you're going to be presenting Google Slides, which is totally fine if you want to do Google Slides, that's normal, is that you need to make sure that you put in sources and that you have visuals and elements that help the learner. You need to include objectives. Please include objectives. What are the key things you want the students to learn? What are some terms they need to learn? So all of that is going to be in your research and instruction. Is how you're going to present those facts to people so that they learn the basics of your topic. Then the other component is going to be an assessment. So after you do the direct instruction, the presentation, you are going to design an assessment for the rest of the class to take. So this could be as simple as a quiz, or you could make a write-up project, like they have to write something about the topic. You would have to give a little bit of background, like make sure to include these vocabularies or explain this, depending on what you think the objectives are. You get to create the objectives. This is your lesson. And be creative. If you want to think a little bit outside the box, that's great. I would not say make like a 2-week-long project about something. You want to do something that will be able to be done within a half an hour, because we are, as a class, going to be taking these assessments, right? I'm going to give it 2 weeks for us to not do any Edgenuity and just do presentations and a learning a little bit different, to give us a break from Edgenuity. Now, your presentation and format, you're going to have 10 minutes for direct instruction. That means we could be presenting. If you want to get creative and have students have like a note sheet that they follow along in your presentation, you could do that. It's not a requirement, you could do that. You could tell the students that these are the key facts when you're presenting, like this is what you need to remember. Totally up to you. Be creative. Make sure that when you're done with your direct instruction that you'll have an assessment ready. Now, don't worry about, well, how am I going to give the assessment? I'm the presenter. I don't have the rights to Google Classroom. When you turn in your work on Sunday, because I actually probably should upload this video on Sunday. It'll be early. You will be uploading everything. So what I'm going to do is, as soon as you're done presenting, after class, I am going to upload all the assessments. So as a class, we're going to take all the assessments. You do not need to take your own assessment because that's redundant. But I will explain more on February 2nd on how it's going to work. Again, here are your different choices. And you have your rubric. Now, if you look at the rubric, you're like, well, Ms. Brisick, there's no point values. There's no like specifics on what I have to include. That is because it is your lesson. It is you teaching the content. So you get to be creative. There are just a couple of things that I think you need to include. Other than that, you do you. You create what you think is the objectives are, what the topic is. Make it interesting, make it engaging. This is for you to be creative. So you're just going to run through this, make sure that whatever you're prepared for hits all of these different things. The very last disclaimer I have is that some of these conditions are actually very related to the chromosomal sex of the person. So just to give you a disclaimer, we are an all gendered accepting school. That means that some people do not fit the status quo of what gender is. So basically, just be mindful of others in the class. If you have any questions about your mini lesson, genetic disorders, I know that this may not be comfortable for everyone, but I think it is a really important teaching tactic and a way to evaluate yourself as a speaker, because wherever you go in the future, elocution skills are important.